To Tuesday Night Live with Rob. It's good to have you all here. Tonight we're going to start off talking about something that I get a lot of questions about, and that's body armor. I wanted to kind of go through a little bit with some of how it's classified right now, and then also go into the new classification system that the NIJ is switching over to starting January 1 of 2024. So with your current classification system, you have level 2, 2A, 3, sorry, I got that backwards. It's 2, 2A, 2A, 2, 3A, 3, and level 4 are your classifications now. 2A is your thinnest body armor. That's gonna stop up to 9mm. Your audio working? Audio good? Beth?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right. Cool.
I think so.
Sorry. Just wanted to check and make sure the audio is working. All right. So level 2A is going to be your lightest body armor. It's going to work with like off the shelf commercial 9mm and 38 special for stopping those. 2A is going to step that up, and that's going to be 9mm plus P basically, and 357 Magnum. Level 3A steps that up a little bit more to 44 Magnum. Level 3 moves into some of your rifle stuff, and then level 4 is your hard plates. The new classification system that they're switching over to starting in January 1 of 2024 is going to be, I think, a little more easy to understand for everyone. It's HG1 for handgun 1, and that's your low-powered handguns. HG2 for some of your higher handguns. RF1, RF2, and RF3 for Rifle 1, Rifle 2, and Rifle 3. And that's basically increasing the calibers and the velocity and projectile weight of the different projectiles. Now I am going to be doing a full video detailing all of this and going through a lot of the changes that they're making as far as their system that they're using for rating different types of body armor. Basically what the military has done, they've moved over, or I'm sorry, what the NIJ has done is they have adopted a lot of the policies and procedures that the military uses for rating body armor. And I think it's going to help streamline the body armor characteristics and the body armor testing methodology that NIJ is using and make that more parallel with what the military uses. So, upcoming video on that really soon. And now that we talked about that, I just want to let you guys know that our live videos are now being placed into a podcast format as well. So for all of you out there that spend time in your vehicles driving or want to fall asleep to my lovely voice every night, you can pop up a podcast and listen to the podcast while you fall asleep or while you drive. And that's available through our YouTube channel as well. You can just click on the podcast and let them play from there. And I am going to be asking and answering a lot of questions tonight. So guys, if y'all have any questions or anything that you want to ask, make sure you drop in and put those in the comment section, and we'll roll through those as well. Now, I just want to say hey to Gerald Montanona from Las Vegas, Nevada. Great to have you on board tonight. And I've got looks like I see a lot of new people on here tonight, so that's awesome. Jeff from Aiken. So great to have you guys here. Dwayne from Anderson County. That's awesome. We got people from all over the country popping in tonight. And so for those of you that missed it earlier today, we did a live with Sensible Prepper from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. If you guys missed that, make sure to pop over to his channel and check out that live we did earlier today. Don and I do a live on Sensible Prepper every Tuesday from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard, and a lot of great content on there for everyone that's in the prepping community or that are just prepper minded and want to have things in place, in case of a natural disaster or anything like that. One of the things I was talking about on there today was a cyber attack in Pennsylvania a couple of weeks ago on their water system, which was really, really concerning. Apparently it was an Iranian group that went in and was a cyber attack on the water system in one of the counties or parishes in Pennsylvania, and they were able to shut down the water system in that area. So, water is one of the things that we have to survive. You can only live 3 days without water. So it's a good idea to keep an eye on things like that are happening in other parts of the country, and just know that our water systems and our power systems are very susceptible to this type of thing happening. And it's a great idea to make sure that you have extra supply of water on hand, especially if you rely on city water to deliver your water to your house. Keep some extra water on hand, as well as a filtration system in case something does happen, so you can have a way to be able to filter your water and provide clean drinking water for yourself and your family. Got some people in here from Oconee County, South Carolina. It's a beautiful area. And John Richardson, my buddies from Maine. Good to have you here tonight, John. And Jason from Knox
Vegas.
Knox Vegas. Okay, I'm with you. I'm slow. Knox Vegas, Tennessee. We got the Popcorn Jack 52 from the Palm Coast of Florida. And Peppy from Chucktown. Peppy D's Nuts. Or is that PP?
I don't know.
Dwayne Booth says Texas grid was attacked as well. Interesting to know. I haven't seen anything about Texas, Dwayne. I'll have to do a little research on that. But these things are happening all over our country, guys. We need to make sure that we're aware of things that are happening and make sure we stay on top of that. Citispell, we had a little joke earlier today. Don was talking about keeping female hygiene products on hand, and I made a little comment, and I was like, so Don, what female hygiene products do you recommend keeping on hand? Kind of put him on the spot. The look on his face, I'm sure you guys that saw that today, was absolutely priceless. So Citispell, thanks for bringing that up. That was great today. If you guys haven't seen that, you really need to go back and watch that episode from today. It was awesome. Daryl Ostin, great meeting you at Suits Nation. Darren, it was great to meet you as well, and great to get to do a little shooting with you. John White, hello from Oregon. John, good to have you here tonight. Awesome. So, guys, let's talk about some new products that we have coming out here at Wheaton Arms should be in January, that we're working toward right now, trying to get them ready to release right before SHOT Show. So we've been working really hard this year on a new trigger system for the SIG P320, and it's a complete redesign over everything that's out there right now, whether it's from SIG or some of the aftermarket stuff. I don't want to go into too much detail and give too much away, because there's things can have a tendency of finding their way into other manufacturing shops, so I don't want to give away too much. But let's just say the new trigger system for the SIG P320s, and it's for all of the SIG P320s, the X5s, the compacts, the full size. It will drop in and fit any of them, and it'll come with a spring kit that will allow you to adjust the trigger pull from 1.5 pounds up to about 4.5 pounds. But it is going to be an incredible trigger system. We've done some work with it to address the issues with the pistol being able to fire. I'm sure you've all seen the pistols firing in holsters, especially with law enforcement. We've done some stuff to address that, to prevent that from happening, as well as a lot of other really cool features that's going to allow the pistol to work with 99% of the hand sizes that are out there. Wink, wink. So keep an eye out for that. We'll have some stuff coming up in the next few weeks with maybe some little teaser photos and stuff like that with the new triggers coming out. So for you guys that are out there with a SIG P320 and you're not happy with the trigger system that you have in it right now, keep an eye out. We've got some awesome products coming for you guys. Jason Parton says tampons are good for through and through. Pads are good for pressure bands. That's absolutely correct. PPD's Nuts says, Robbie, are you making triggers for the micro dagger? I have not had one of the micro daggers in my hand yet to be able to see what kind of trigger bar and trigger system they're using in that pistol. If it's using a modified Gen 5 trigger bar assembly in it, no, we don't have anything for it. If it's using a trigger bar assembly that's similar or like the ones that's used in the 43, 43X, and the 48, then yes, our triggers will work in that. I've been trying to get one of those, but I'm sure any of you out there that have been trying to get one of the micro daggers know those things are very, very difficult to get. When they pop up on their website, you get the notification from Matt PSA on Facebook, and as soon as that thing pops up, boom, they are gone. They're extremely popular right now, and I understand why. It's a great design. I really like the frame, the way the pistol's put together. PSA did a really, really good job with it. So hopefully they're going to be picking up production with those pretty soon, and they're going to be more readily available. But right now, that's been a tough one to get. So as soon as I get my hands on it and I'm able to test out the trigger bar assembly and see what they're using in it, I'll be able to answer that question better for you. Gerald Montanona says, Robbie, since you're big on PSA, which PSA do you recommend getting? So with the Pelham Estate Armory AR-15s, what I recommend is not necessarily all the different handguards and buttstocks and all of that. That's all a personal preference thing. Get a rifle from them that has a Carpenter 158 bolt and a rifle that has one of the FN cold hammer forged barrels. That is the heart and soul of the rifle. Everything else makes the rifle work better, perform better, things like that. The muzzle brake is going to help reduce recoil and muzzle rise. A good trigger is going to help you be more accurate. A free float handguard is going to help improve the inherent accuracy of the rifle by isolating the barrel from any tension that you can put on the handguard. A buttstock and a pistol grip that's comfortable to you, those are all personal preferences. The big thing to get is make sure you get a Carpenter 158 bolt and get one of the 1-in-7 twist cold hammer forged barrels from FN that they sell. Other than that, the rest of the stuff is just kind of pick as you go. I like a longer handguard, 15-inch rail. I've got big long monkey arms, so I have to have something that fits my frame, and the 15-inch handguard works really well for me. Fixed buttstock or collapsible buttstock, it's kind of personal preference with that. Once again, it's just kind of what fits you. One really nice upgrade that I do like for the AR-15s, if you're looking to get the most compact package that you can get, is a 14.5-inch barrel with a mid-length gas system, a pinned and welded muzzle brake, and a folding stock from Deadfoot Arms. Their folding stock assemblies allow you to shoot the rifle with the stock system still folded, unlike a lot of the other folders that are out there. So I'm a big fan of the Deadfoot Arms folding stock assembly. So not sponsored by them or anything, just a great product, and check those guys out. They're a little bit pricey, but it works, and it works extremely well. Dwayne Booth says, what's the difference between a muzzle brake and a suppressor? All right, so this is going to be a fun little topic here. So you have muzzle brakes, you have compensators, you have basically any type of recoil reducing device that goes on the end of the muzzle that does not impact the sound level or the decibel level of the rifle is considered a muzzle brake or a compensator. Muzzle brakes and compensators are the same thing. That term is used interchangeably, just like silencer, suppressor, can, or some other terms are used interchangeably to describe a silencer or a muffler for your firearm. But a muzzle brake is designed specifically to reduce recoil and to reduce muzzle rise. Suppressors are specifically designed to reduce the sound signature of the round being fired out of the firearm. So that's the big difference. A lot of your suppressors or silencers that are available now come with a muzzle brake or work in conjunction with a specifically designed muzzle brake. And what that muzzle brake does is it basically acts like the primary blast baffle in your suppressor. So when you fire the rifle, little pieces of unburned powder, pieces of copper jacket and stuff, they're going to hit, and all the high pressure gas is going to hit that muzzle brake first instead of hitting your primary blast baffle first. And it allows the muzzle brake to be essentially a consumable first blast baffle in your suppressor. So you you may burn up the muzzle brake. You take it off, you replace it, you put a new muzzle brake on, versus a direct thread suppressor or silencer, and you're going to burn up your primary blast baffle first, which will require the suppressor to go back to the manufacturer to be rebuilt or replaced. But that's kind of the long answer to your question. Let's see. Chris Matthews says, I love my SIG P320, looking forward to the added safety of the new trigger. Chris, I think you're going to be super excited when you see this new trigger. We've addressed a lot of issues that people have with the 320 triggers, whether you have big hands, whether you have small hands, or you're shooting the pistol with gloves on or without gloves. We've addressed a lot of issues with it. So I'm really looking forward to being able to release the new trigger for you guys to see. Jeff says, BRG 9mm Elite truck gun. I'm not familiar with the BRG 9mm. Who makes that, and what is it? And I'll give you a little more detail about it. And Chris Matthews says, Robbie, is there an all-purpose sight pusher you recommend that'll do common pistol brands that won't scratch the finish? SIG, Springfield, Glock. I suppose you could use a nylon punch. Chris, there's a company out of Georgia that makes sight pushers that are you buy it for one model, and then you can get different adapter pieces that go into the bottom that hook into your frame rails, so you can do different slides. Glocks are easy to do. SIGs are easy to do. Springfield pistols generally tend to be really difficult, and sight pushers won't move the original sights in the gun. You generally have to drift those out with the pistol in a padded vise, and use a hammer and a punch to drift those out. Especially the XDs and a lot of the 1911s. Kimbers are really hard to do. Kimber sights are pressed in really tight. So it really, a lot of your polymer guns, with the exception of the Springfield XD, are pretty easy to push out. XDs are not. M&Ps are easy to push out. And I'll see if I can find the name of that company and post a link in the chat after the video's over. That way I don't have to stop right quick and pull that up and post it. But I'll put that in. I'll put a link in the bottom where you can find that later.
Do we have any in our Amazon store? I know we've got some bitch stuff in there.
Maybe there may be some in our Amazon store if you want to check on that and see. Kevin Ramsey says, "Hey Robbie, Kevin Ramsey, hey, good to have you on tonight, bud." Kevin Ramsey says, Chris, I recently bought a VISM sight replacer or sight pusher that I really like. Corey Suttle says, how do you feel about Sons of Liberty Gunworks AR-15s? Corey, I've never had my hands on one of their rifles. I hadn't had any experience with it, so I can't tell you, positively or negatively one way or the other what I think about those. I really don't have an opinion because I've never played with any of their rifles. A lot of ARs out there that I've messed with, but that's not one that I've ever had my hands on. The sight pusher, guys, there's a lot of companies out there that make what they call a universal sight pusher that's supposed to work with all different kinds of guns. And there's some that are kind of cheap. There's some that are very expensive, $400, $500, $600. I've never had good luck with any of them at any price point. I've broken pretty much all of them. The $100 ones, the $500 ones, I've broke all of them. Like I said, there's really only one company's sight pusher that I've used that I've had great results with, and I'll pull it up and I'll post a link to that down in the description below, so you guys will have access to that and be able to check them out. But it's a solid aluminum billet body that's it's super heavy duty, and it's got about a 5/8 of an inch fine thread pusher bolt that runs through it with a hardened steel insert that pushes on the sight itself. It's a great product. All right, guys, that's about all that I have on sight pushers tonight. David Jansen just popped in and said hello from St. Augustine, Florida. David, good to have you on board tonight. And hope to be able to share some great content with you guys. Corey says, how about the Diamondback AR in 308? Corey, I've had great results with the Diamondback series of firearms, their AR-15s and their AR-10s. So that's definitely one that I would recommend. The only downside to it that I've found, the Diamondbacks have a larger gas port than I like, so it's a good candidate to put an adjustable gas system on. It tends to be overgassed some, so which works very well for extraction and ejection, but you also get more felt recoil from it as well because it's driving the bolt carrier group back harder. So a great rifle to be able to put an adjustable gas block on and have it run very reliably. As far as AR-10s go, I'm a big fan of the Aero Precision AR-10s. Those are very, very good shooting rifles. I've built a bunch of them on their parts with the Aero or the Ballistic Advantage barrels. They're the same company. But I've built a bunch of guns over the years with their stuff and had great results with it. The only negative that I've found with the Aero Precision AR-10s is their gas port size. Their gas ports are actually undersized, and I've had some cycling issues with their rifles over the years. I normally, if I get one of their barrels for an AR-10 or even one of their completed uppers for an AR-10 when they have good deals on them, the first thing I do is pull the gas block and the handguard off and oversize the gas port about 6 to 8 thousandths. That really helps the guns to run really well and eliminates the short stroking and stovepiping. An easy way to test an AR-15 or any semi-automatic rifle to make sure that the bolt is cycling fully is to load a single round in the magazine and fire a single round out of the magazine and make sure that it locks the bolt back on the bolt catch. Not locking back on the magazine catch or locking back on the bolt carrier, that the bolt moves back far enough to lock back on the bolt face and on the bolt catch. So it's just a little trick that I've learned over the years that I use to test ARs if I'm having cycling issues or if a customer brings me a rifle that's having cycling issues and not shooting really well. Reliability issues, failure to extract, failure to eject, it's double feeding. That's one of the first things that I do to test that rifle is load a single round in a magazine and shoot it and make sure it's locking the bolt back properly. Jeff says, made in Turkey, looks and feels like my Springfield XDM. Picked up cheap, came with extra mag, case, speed loader. And which firearm is that, Jeff, that you picked up that was made in Turkey?
Go back and look in the chat.
Oh, the BRG 9mm Elite. I gotcha. Okay, yeah, that one. Let me do a little research on that, and I will. I'll post a comment down below later after I have a chance to research it and let you know. Gerald says, I've mentioned this before, but any plan and update for you or Suits to review Stealth Arms Platypus 2011? Yes, that one is definitely on the list. There's a lot of new 2011s coming out, especially since STI's patent has expired, and these companies are able to build the modular gripped steel frames. So that is definitely one that I have on the list that I want to test and review. So I'll reach out to them and see if I can get one to be able to take a look at it. Semial says, what do you think about the Blackout Defense AR-15? That's another company that I'm not familiar with. I haven't messed with any of their stuff. Guys, I tell you, most of your AR-15s that are on the market, the upper and lower receivers are generally produced by one of just a few companies, unless it's a billet receiver that's being machined in-house. If it's a mil-spec AR-15 built on a standard lower, standard upper, they're all about the same. There's not really any benefit or drawback to buying one over another. It really comes down to the roll stamp that's on the side of the receiver that you're looking for. So if you're not particular about a roll stamp, a $39 Anderson receiver is just as good as, pick the name, Colt or whatever, that's built on a mil-spec lower or mil-spec upper. The big thing with the AR-15 is, like I've talked about before, the barrel. and the bolt. Those are the two most important parts of a rifle when it comes to accuracy, longevity, and reliability. There's a reason why our military uses hammer forged barrels for our troops. It's because they get a very long service life out of those barrels. If they were using a stainless steel barrel, which is great for accuracy, they just don't have the lifespan that you get out of a hammer forged barrel. Or your 4150 chrome vanadium steels. It's great steel and it makes a great barrel, but it doesn't have the longevity that you get out of hammer forging a barrel. That's why our military uses the hammer forged barrels. That's why for a hard use defensive firearm, I always recommend the hammer forged barrels. And there's a few companies that make those. Daniel Defense, FN in Columbia, South Carolina. Colt does a really good hammer forged barrel. BCM makes a really good hammer forged barrel. Any of those barrels are going to be incredible. And they're going to shoot an MOA-ish with good ammo, or an MOA-ish with crappy ammo. So you're not really gaining or losing anything by shooting really high quality ammo in those, like some of your 77 grain open tip match versus just regular M193 ball. They're all going to shoot about the same group size out of the 1-in-7 twist hammer forged barrels. But the barrel and a good Carpenter 158 bolt, same from one of those companies. And then everything else on the rifle is just to improve the performance of the firearm itself. A better trigger is going to allow you to shoot it faster. It's going to allow you to shoot it more accurately and have quicker follow-up shots. A muzzle brake is going to do the same thing. It's going to reduce muzzle rise, it's going to reduce recoil, and allow for faster follow-up shots. A proper grip that fits your hand and positions your finger at a 90-degree angle to the trigger is going to allow you to shoot the rifle faster and more comfortably. A buttstock that actually fits your length of pull, it fits your face and positions your head properly in front of the optic so you're not having to raise your head up or move it down or move it forward or back. A good buttstock is, to me, one of the most important things with a rifle. I'm left-handed, so I put an ambi-safety on all my rifles. I put an ambi-bolt release on all my rifles. I do the ambi-magazine release on all of my rifles and the ambi-charging handle. That's going to allow me to manipulate all the controls on that firearm, whether I'm shooting strong side or weak side. It's personal preference, but for me, it's from running these rifles for almost 30 years. Those are things that are important to me, no matter what I'm doing and how I'm shooting, is the ability to be able to manipulate all the controls on that firearm, both right-handed and left-handed. Corey Settle said, could I put a arrow upper on the Diamondback, like if I want a longer barrel or maybe a 6.5 Creedmoor? The answer is probably. What you would need to measure are the front and rear takedown pins, and make sure that the front and rear takedown pins on the Diamondback lower are the same diameter as the takedown pins on the Aero Precision upper. Normally they are. Normally the only differences that you run into are with the upper receiver to the handguard are a little bit different. You can call Diamondback and check with Diamondback and see if they build their lowers off of the DPMS pattern or off of the Armalite pattern. That's one of the big differences between them. There can be a gap between your upper and lower receiver at the rear where the buffer tube is with the Armalite pattern versus the DPMS pattern. I think most companies now have started building everything based off the DPMS pattern AR-10, which has kind of become the proxy standard for everything, with the Armalite pattern being more specifically just toward the firearms that Armalite builds. But I would check with Diamondback just to double check and see what they build on, if they build on an Armalite pattern or the DPMS pattern. The Aero Precision stuff is all built on the DPMS pattern, which most companies out there today are. So the DPMS pattern will work on your Diamondback lower. Dwayne Booth says 303 is a great rifle, but ammunition is hard to find. Dwayne, I feel your pain. I've got a really nice Enfield sniper rifle from World War I in the safe, and that's one of the few rifles that I have very, very little ammunition for. You know, you can pick up some milsurp stuff from time to time, but a lot of that is corrosive. And with the condition that the rifle that I have, that it's in, I really don't want to shoot any type of corrosive ammunition in that rifle. So, you know, I shop around looking for some 303 stuff, and when I can find really good high quality current manufacturer 303 ammunition, I pick it up. That's one that I really need to start reloading for. Hunting and Stuff with J&J says, hello Robbie. Hello Hunting and Stuff with J&J. He says, I just got a Taurus 44 Magnum. What's your thoughts on it? The Taurus 44 Magnums I've had kind of mixed results with. They work really, really well when they're new. And I'm speaking of some of the older stuff. I don't have any long-term experience with some of their newer 44 Magnums that Taurus has released. But the older stuff would tend to shoot loose over time and start running into some issues with it. The newer stuff, from everything that I've seen from Taurus, a lot of the manufacturing issues that they've had in the past, they have corrected. The good thing about Taurus is if you do have a problem with it, if something breaks, if something fails with it, you can send that firearm back to Taurus and they will repair it free of charge. They do have a great warranty. It's a little aggravating having to ship your gun off to have it worked on if something happens to it. The only other downside that I have with Taurus stuff is they don't sell any parts for their guns, so you can't put spare parts back in case something happens to their gun long term. That's really the only big negative that I have with it. But they tend to be very accurate guns, very reliable guns, especially the newer stuff that they've released. But if you have one of the older Tauruses, just kind of keep an eye on things and make sure nothing comes loose with it, and especially screws that tend to vibrate loose, your crane screws, your action screws, side plate screws and stuff like that. You may want to put a drop of blue Loctite on those to help hold those screws in place so they don't vibrate loose while you're shooting it. And if you do start, having questions about it, something doesn't feel right with the gun, send it back to Taurus and have them go through it and freshen it up for you. Blackout Semial says Blackout Defense builds their own barrel is dual taper locked. I'll have to do a little research on them. I'm not familiar with that company, but it sounds like they're doing things right. I'll pull them up and take a look at their stuff and check it out. And thanks for letting me know about them. There's a lot of, especially in the AR-15 market, there's a lot of companies, newer companies that have popped up that are building stuff that are more of a boutique shop that build awesome, outstanding products, but they just don't have that Smith & Wesson big company brand recognition because they are a newer company. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a little research on those. Cody Herring says, what 112 gauge shotgun would you choose? Me personally, budget out the window, Benelli M2. I've had one for 20-ish years now. I've put a metric ton of shotgun shells through it over the years, shooting competitively, hunting with it, bird hunting, practicing, training, dry firing until I got tendonitis in my elbow from reloading the shotgun so much. I think the Benelli M2 is probably the best workhorse shotgun that's available as far as a semi-auto goes. Pump shotguns, I'm a big fan of the Remington 870 and the Mossberg 590s. I like the 870. I give an edge to the 870 over the 590 because I can add an extension tube to it to increase my capacity, where with the 590s you have to replace the entire magazine tube, which your action floats on the magazine tube. So it's a lot harder to replace that magazine tube than it is to just add an extension onto the 870s. One of the downsides with the 870 is the end of the tube is dimpled, and you have to either swedge those dimples out, which I don't recommend. You can run into a lot of issues trying to swedge those dimples out, or you can just drill them out and cut them out with a Dremel. Normally what I do, if I get one in that has the dimpled tube, I put the tube in the milling machine and take a 1/4 inch carbide end mill and just cut the dimples out. It doesn't affect the structural integrity of the tube. and the shotgun still works fine after you take those dimples out, but that will allow you to add an extension tube to it. But either one of those, the 870 or the 590s, are both tremendous shotguns. Plenty of aftermarket parts as well as manufacturer OEM parts available for those guns, so you can build up a spare parts supply and keep those parts on hand in case the firearm goes down. You can repair it yourself. Corey Suttle said, would you get a 5X Prism or would you get the 5X magnifier from EOTech and a really nice red dot? Me personally, I wouldn't do either. I would go with the LPVO, low power variable optic. 1 to 6, 1 to 8, 1 to 10. I like those better than the Prism or the 5X magnifier, just because it gives me the ability to turn my magnification down on 1X. I can turn the illumination on and shoot a LPVO, low powered variable optic, with both eyes open, just like I'm shooting a red dot. Or I can wind the magnification up to 6, 8, or 10X, depending on which one of the LPVOs you're looking at, and I get double the magnification that I'm getting with a 5X Prism or the 5X magnifier, and still I'll have a better reticle. I've got a Christmas tree reticle or some type of BDC holdover reticle for long distance shooting, as well as the illumination for my center for close in shooting, CQB type shooting. So the LPVO is my choice over both of those. If I was nailed down and somebody said you have to have a Prism or you have to have the 5X magnifier, I would probably go with the 5X magnifier, just because I can roll the magnifier out of the way and use the red dot as a standalone for 200 yards and in, or roll the magnifier back up if I need to stretch out longer distances. Chris Matthews says, Cabela's and Bass Pro had 303 British last 2 times I've gone, and that was fairly recent. Chris, that's good to know. I will have to check them out and see if I can scoop some of that up for my infield. KH says, hi. Hi, KH. Good to have you tonight. Dwayne Booth says, Winchester manufactures 303 and Academy, and Cabela's carries them under the Herter's brand name. That's good to know as well. I haven't saw any at my local Academy. We've got one just a few miles from us, and I haven't saw any 303 Brit there. But I'll dig a little harder next time I go and maybe ask the guy behind the counter if they've got some. Maverick 88. Yep. So the Maverick 88 is basically a Mossberg 500 or Mossberg 590 clone. And it's been a great shotgun. I really haven't saw a whole lot of differences between the 88 and the 500 series shotguns. One of the big benefits to the 88 or the 500 is the thumb safety is on the tang of the receiver instead of on the trigger guard. So it's a good ambi safety. It's easy to manipulate whether you're right-handed or left-handed, and it's easy to tell if the safety is on or off. You can just roll your thumb up there and push forward or pull back on it. There's some great companies that make oversized thumb safeties for those that go on top of the receiver that make it even easier to manipulate that safety. But that is one feature with the Maverick 88s or with the Mossberg 500s or 590s that I think set that shotgun above and apart from all of the other shotguns, is the fact that the safety is truly ambidextrous and not just a crossbolt safety like you get on most of your other shotguns. Me personally, my shotguns, me being left-handed, I reverse the safety on it, which is great for me, but it's not great for anyone else in my house that picks that shotgun up and takes it out to use it, because you're always used to, you push it from right to left to be able to fire it, or you push it left to right to put it on safe. All of my shotguns are reversed, so anytime we're out shooting, my boys and I, or my wife and I, that's one of the things that I have to point out to them, that my safety is reversed on my shotgun, so they know it. Corey Suttle says, I see your point. That said, what brand LPVO? Corey, it really comes down to price point, how much you're wanting to spend on it. In the $200 to $300 range, Primary Arms makes excellent 1x6 LPVO that will do just about everything that you want to do. They also make cantilever mounts that will extend the scope forward some, so it works without compromising your eye relief at the rear. You basically want your ocular lens at the rear to be flush with the charging handle on the rifle for you to be able to get the proper eye relief on it. And a regular 2-ring system won't allow you to move your scope far enough forward to get the proper eye relief. If you're looking for something a little higher end, Swarovski makes a great one. Leupold makes a great one. I think both of those companies do a 1x8 and maybe a 1x10 as well. I was trying to remember the brand name of one, and it's escaping me right now. If it comes to me, I'll pop it in later. But me personally, I've been using the Primary Arms. They make a higher end series of scope. It's around $1,000. But they make a 1x10 that is absolutely incredible. And you can get that in a first focal plane or a second focal plane scope. But I've been using one of those for the last 5 or 6 years, and it has been a tremendous scope. But with that being said, they're 1x6s. I've got several, 5, 6 at least, of their 1x6s on different ARs, and their 1x6s are great. The clicks on the turrets are very positive. It's very easy to set the scope. It repeats. It's very repeatable, and it's got a great ballistic reticle in it. Dimitri at Primary Arms, that designs all of their reticles, is a savant when it comes to reticle design. I think he has some of the best reticles on the market, and he does a ton of research into the reticles prior to them going into production on their scopes. Haha says, I'm here finally, been watching you forever on Sensible Prepper. Awesome. Great to have you over here tonight, and good that you could join in with us. Scott Zeich says, thoughts on a TX22 compact. The TX22 is a great little pistol. I've had great results with it. It's been very reliable, accurate. I really don't have any negatives for it. I think it comes with a lot of bells and whistles that you don't see on like the Ruger Mark IIs or some of the other pistols that are available today. The TX22, I think, as far as a backpack gun, or maybe even something that you were going to use for Steel Challenge, is a great option. Dwayne Booth said, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Citispell says, good evening all. Got to run. Great info, Robbie, and great questions. Citispell, thank you for stopping by tonight. And if you're not able to finish watching, you can catch us on the replay that I'll post up on the website, or you can catch the podcast later as well. See you later, bud. Dwayne Booth says, Robbie, what do you think about the Ruger LR22 pistol? I'm going to have to pull that one up right quick. Give me just a second. Not a fan. That is like a Walther P22 knockoff. They're decently accurate. They're decently reliable, but it's not something that I've got one, and I've had one of the Walthers for quite some time, and it's just okay. There's a lot of other guns that I would choose over that one. The TX22 compact, I would put head and shoulders above the Ruger LR22 or the Walther P22. And sorry guys, for those of you out there that have the Walther P22 or the LR22 that absolutely love it, I'm glad y'all have an awesome one. The ones that I've messed with, I have not been very pleased with them, especially in the accuracy department. They're just, I guess I'm kind of an accuracy snob, and they just don't live up to my expectation or my standard of accuracy that I have for most pistols. Primary Arms LPVO, definitely the best for the buck. Yep, I couldn't agree more. I think Primary Arms makes some of the best scopes on the market, especially for the money. There's a lot of other stuff that's out there that's $200, $300, $400 more that, in my opinion, does not even compete with the Primary Arms scopes. Their LPVOs are some of the best you can get. Bill Winkle says, hey Robbie, what's your favorite concealed carry pistol that's not a Glock? Whew, man, that list is long and distinguished. I love carrying my CZ75. I've got the full size and the compact. I love both of those. Smith & Wesson M&Ps. I rotate the 9s and the 40s in and out quite regularly. The IWI Masada is another favorite of mine. I'm a big 1911 guy. I love 1911s. I've carried them for over 30 years, and a huge fan of the 1911. Whether it's a full-size gun, the compacts, the officers' models, I love all things 1911. And you know, my got a pair of shorts on in the summertime. A lot of times I carry a North American Arms 22 Magnum. That it's got a little pocket clip holster that just drops in my pocket. That's one of my favorite summertime carry guns. I carry, honestly, I probably change guns more often than my wife changes pocketbooks. And that's saying a lot because she loves her pocketbooks. There, you know, there's two things in our house that we don't question each other on, and that's my gun purchases and her pocketbook purchases. Those are just undefined things that we don't talk about. I don't ask what she spends on pocketbooks. She don't ask what I spend on guns, and it's worked out well for almost 20 years. So, yeah, guys, if you can find a woman that loves her pocketbooks and you love your guns, and you just tell her, look, I'm not going to ask you about your pocketbooks. You're not going to ask me about my guns. The world will be a better place for all of us. Nick Yanatula. Hey, Nick, how you doing, bud? What are you looking for in a medium to high-end scope for a 6.5 Creedmoor? So I'm looking for a few things. One, first thing is going to be first focal plane, side parallax adjustment, illuminated reticle, 30 millimeter tube minimum, preferably a 34 or a 35 millimeter tube. That's going to allow the most light in possible and also give you a little bit more internal adjustment for elevation. Objective lens 50 millimeters plus on the objective. Ocular, look at the F factor on the ocular. That's how much light the scope is able to transmit all the way through the scope. That's going to give you the ability to be able to see the best in early morning or late evening conditions, or when it's foggy and you're at a match and you're trying to pick out a target through the fog. That light gathering capability or the higher F factor on the scope is going to be one of the most important things that you can have. Great target turrets on the windage and the elevation that are done in mils or tenth of a mil. That's a must-have. A BDC reticle that works. I'm a big fan of the Trimmer 3 and the Trimmer 4 reticle. I think those are some of the better reticles that are out there for high-end optics. Yeah, so that's kind of a list of all the items that I'm looking for with a really good long range scope for a 6.5 Creedmoor. The Callus scopes, Kahles, are some of my favorites. I think those guys are making a tremendous optic for long range shooting. So check that one out. Corey Suttles, is the Platinum series the higher end models? Yep, that's the ones, Corey. The Platinums from Primary Arms are their higher end scopes, and it's got better glass in it. The target turrets are extremely positive. The Platinum series that's the one that I've been running for the last several years on my AR, and I'm very, very pleased with it. No regrets on that purchase. That's an awesome optic. Bill Wunkle says, any thoughts on the Canic line of handguns? Also, what do you think is the best 1911 for under $1,000? Canics, I absolutely love the Canic. I think the Rival is one of the best production pistols out there, whether it's the polymer framed one or the steel framed gun. They shoot exceptionally soft. They're incredibly accurate, especially for a polymer framed pistol. They've got a lot of bells and whistles with them that you spend extra with a lot of other firearms that you buy. I think as far as a competition gun or range gun or even a carry gun, the Rivals are some of the best out-of-the-box pistols that you can buy with all the extras that they come with. And then for a 1911 that's under $1,000, probably the Thesis would be the one that I would look at. I've built several guns on those, and the tolerances and everything are super tight on those guns. The barrels are fit right out of the box. I don't have anything negative that I could say about the Thesis line of firearms. I think they're made in Turkey, or they're machined in Turkey, and then I think all the final assembly is done here in the United States in Tennessee, if I remember correctly. But check out the Thesis for under $1,000. It's a great bargain. I am sapient, I think. Sorry if I butchered that, dude. Vortex Razor 2 1x6. Yep, the Razor 2 1x6 is a great scope. I put that in. It's comparable with the Platinum line from Primary Arms, but just more expensive. The Razors have been good scopes for a long, long time, and it's a great line. They really support the shooting sports. Vortex really supports the shooting sports, and they make some great optics. Yeah, Vortex is another one that a lot of people overlook. I tend to lean more toward the ones from Primary Arms other than the scopes from Vortex personally, just because of price point to value. I think that with what you get from Primary Arms, that those scopes, especially in their Platinum line, are every bit as good as the Razors that you get from Vortex at a lower price point. So just my personal opinion, my experience. But I think the Platinum stuff from Primary Arms stacks up very equally, very evenly with the Vortex Razors. Corey Suttles, just for reference, this scope or magnifier combo is going on a 13.7 AR. Yep, I would do a 1x6 or a 1x8. Probably do a second focal plane just so your reticle size stays the same on 1x. And it'll make it very easy for you to shoot it with both eyes open. The downside that I've found with first focal plane on your LPVOs is when you go down to 1x, the reticle shrinks really small, and it can be difficult to see the reticle on 1x. So go with a second focal plane 1x6 or a 1x8 for that 13.7 rifle, and you'll have a really good package that you can reach out up to 400 plus with. Bill Wunkel says, any thoughts on the... already answered that one. Here we go. Haha says, I have a Primary Arms 2X Prism on my 13.7 Corey. I really like it. Not much magnification, but very clear glass and lightweight with a good reticle. Yep, absolutely. The 2X reticle, I actually prefer the 2X over the 1X. What I found a lot of times is 1X almost tends to demagnify slightly, and things will look further away than they actually are. Where the 2X reticle is, it's almost what you see with your eyes is what you see through the scope, and maybe just a little bit closer. But the 2X is very much like just a standard red dot, and like you said, with a great reticle and extremely clear glass, the 2X Prism is a good option. One of the things I do like about the Prism over a red dot is, even if something happens to your scope, battery goes dead, whatever, the illumination quits working. With a red dot, you're SOL. You're out of luck. You're not going to have anything that you're going to be able to see other than a blank screen. Where the Prism, if the battery goes dead, you're still able to see the reticle, and you're still able to shoot that rifle with that optic on it. Same thing with your LPVOs, especially the second focal plane stuff. Even if the illumination goes out, your battery goes dead, whatever, that optic is still usable and serviceable without the illumination. And Corey Suttles says, haha, thank you very much for the recommendation. I'll definitely look into it. Yeah, the Prisms, especially the Primary Arms Prism scopes, are very good. And if you're limiting to your shooting distance to inside 300 yards, the 2X Prism is a very good option. You're still going to be able to reach out to 300 with it, still be able to make your shots, have illumination, have a great reticle. But for shorter distance stuff like that, the 2X Prism is a very good option. And Corey says, awesome, I really appreciate all the help, guys. When did you say to expect the P320 triggers? We're shooting for right around SHOT Show with those, which is the middle of January, 15th, 20th of January, somewhere around there. We're going to try and get some little teaser photos and stuff up sooner than that. And once we finish a little bit of prototyping and tweaking with them, we'll and get those up, we will possibly be doing some pre-orders on those as well, if I can twist the bossy lady's arm into it. But about 4 more weeks, and you guys should be able to start seeing some stuff on those. L. Robert Van Dyke says, question, Robbie, how do I get an optic to work under night vision, PVS 14 helmet mounted? So you're going to have some an illuminated reticle that you can use. A lot of your scopes out there now have NVG or night vision goggle settings to where you can turn your illumination on your reticle and be able to see that. You're also going to want to run your PVS 14 on your non-dominant side. So you're going to run the PVS 4. If you're right-handed, you're going to run the PVS 14 on your left eye, and your right eye is going to be looking at the reticle, and your eyes will superimpose the two together to where you can use that at night. And Corey Suttle says, so ACOG for my 20-inch FN. ACOGs are great scopes, whether you're looking at the 3X or the 4X or some of the bigger ones. I used to use an ACOG a long time ago, maybe around 2000, 2001, 2002. I went away from the ACOG and went for the LPVOs just because of the ability to be able to dial down to 1X and then dial back up for longer range shooting. I always found that the LPVO worked out better for me than having a fixed magnified scope, with the exception of some of your low power stuff like the 2X prisms. The 2X prism gives you the ability to almost shoot it like a red dot, but with a fixed reticle in there. Where with the your ACOGs, you're limited to 3X or 4X, which forces you to get into that scope. Another downside to the ACOGs is they have a really small eye box, so your face is up really close to the dot, which closes off a lot of your peripheral vision, and you lose a lot of periphery with those. I like something that I can shoot both eyes open and be able to maintain my peripheral vision with any of my rifle scopes. Jeff says, I have the Rock Island 1911, and it's been an awesome addition. Jeff, you're absolutely right. The Rock Island 1911s have been tremendous pistols, especially since Fred Craig went over there. Fred is an absolute genius when it comes to 1911s and pistol design. Fred went to work for Rock Island and or Armscore, which is the parent company, and really helped revamp their entire manufacturing process, taught them how to build the guns properly, how to set the tolerances on the guns, and really improved the overall quality that you would get from the pistol and from that manufacturer. But yeah, Rock Island or Armscore is another great pistol to buy from, or a great company to buy from if you're looking for a budget-minded 1911 that's under $1,000. And I think that's going to be about it for tonight, guys. Just want to say thank you to everybody for stopping by and spending an hour with us and enjoying some great conversation. Our video is going to be, we'll have this up on our podcast as well. So for those of you that missed it, you'll be able to catch our video on the rewind on the podcast. It will also be downloaded onto our regular YouTube channel, so you can catch it on our regular YouTube channel as well. And thank you again for stopping by tonight. If you're not a Patreon member, we've got a little scrolling ticker at the bottom. Hey, make sure you sign up and join our Patreon. It really helps to support our channel and support everything that we do for you guys. I'll see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Enjoy it, guys.